Lava Diana. Hello, Rangva. My name is Janie Pridham. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. And I'm really pleased to be able to share with you our sustainable schools journey. Pembrokeshire is in the United Kingdom, and we are here in this little corner called Wales, which is a separate country. And Pembrokeshire is down there in the left, the very west, southwest of the country. Here's an aerial view, and you can see we have lots of beaches. We have 125,000 people. 17% of them speak Welsh, which is the language of Wales, mostly in the north of the county. We rely on tourism for much of our economy, and we also have oil refineries and liquid natural gas in our harbour that you can see there in the map. We've got 49 primary schools, that's aged 3 to 11. We have 5 secondary schools where pupils stay until they're 18. We also have 3 relatively new schools that are aged 3 to 18, and we have 1 special school for children with special needs. 19 of our schools provide education through the medium of Welsh. Some of those do Welsh and English. Some of them are only Welsh, and they're mainly small schools in the north of the county. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of background before we start. Pembrokeshire Sustainable Schools is run by the local authority, which is Pembrokeshire County Council. There are 22 county councils in Wales, and they're responsible for looking after the schools. The award scheme was set up in 2008 with funding from the Welsh Government and the Department for International Development, which is part of the UK government. That doesn't exist anymore, and Welsh Government no longer give out funding for this sort of thing. So we were lucky to be there at that time. Since then, 2 important pieces of legislation have come out. One is the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act in 2015, and the other one is the new curriculum for Wales. The new curriculum started last year in September in primary schools, and this year secondary schools will be starting. So the year 7s will be doing the new curriculum this year. It'll go up to year 8 next year and onwards. There are 4 purposes of the new curriculum: ambitious, capable learners, enterprising, creating contributors, healthy, confident individuals, and ethical, informed citizens. And people might think that ethical, informed citizens is the one that fits with sustainable schools and global learning, but actually all of these are important in sustainability work. As well as so this is what we're aiming for when a child leaves school. As well as these, there are the areas of learning and experience. So we no longer have geography, history, we have just humanities now, science and technology, maths and numeracy, languages, literacy and communication, expressive arts, and health and well-being. Each of these is as important as the other. So schools now need to spend as much time on health and well-being as they do on maths and numeracy and expressive arts and all the others. And you can probably see that if a school was doing something about climate change, how they might be able to do something there with each of those. The Wellbeing of Future Generations Act isn't necessarily something that teachers will know about, but it's important in that it requires public bodies, of which the local authority is one, to think about the long-term impact of their decisions, to work better with people, communities, and each other, and to prevent persistent problems such as poverty, health inequalities, and climate change. And one of these, we can see the top left-hand pale blue one is a globally responsible Wales, and with the orange one, a resilient Wales. So the local authority has to show that they are working towards these, and sustainable schools, since they fund it, is part of their being able to show that. So it means that the funding for the scheme is likely to stay in place. When it was set up with the original funding, they employed a sustainable schools officer. This has always been in our county part-time. I currently work 106 days a year when schools need me, so I don't work in the holidays, and mostly I work it around, when I'm needed. We identified partner organisations to assist with the direction of the scheme. So we had the national parks, the Westwales Eco Centre, we had a development education centre who were to do with global issues. Some of those have since closed, but others have come on board. So they meet every term with the Sustainable Schools Officer to look at the direction of the scheme. They work with schools, do workshops, have schools out with them, and they help to assess schools with the Sustainable Schools Officer. We designed the scheme to be an award with progression, so people would get a bronze, silver, and gold award, and we had to think about the paperwork. We give them a self-evaluation at the beginning, not just to see where they are, but also to see where they could be. There may be things they haven't thought about. And we designed the assessment paperwork. Originally, that was really, really complicated. And we found that lots of schools joined and got awards. And then there were schools we knew were doing work, but they weren't going for their awards. We thought they don't want to do the forms. We simplified the forms, and now they are also coming forward as well. We launched the scheme to teachers and other interested parties. This is our logo, Sustainable Schools Award, Gwobr Ysgolion Cynaliadwy. And this is what they actually get. It's a plaque made from reclaimed wood with different kinds of trees in there. We've got alder, sycamore, and oak trees. And then what looks like gold isn't. It's just brass, but it's got the logo engraved on there. So the scheme encourages the integration of sustainability and global learning in both teaching and learning, and in the sustainable management of the school. And the journey to becoming a sustainable school allows schools to work within the 6 areas of learning and the 4 purposes, excuse me, of the new curriculum. And we have topics that they can look at, and they are waste and litter minimisation, biodiversity, healthy living, energy, climate change, water, global citizenship, and community citizenship. It used to be that to gain a bronze award, a school would pick 3 of these, and those top 3 were the ones they usually picked because they were the ones they were doing most of at the beginning. Then they had to do another 3 for silver and another 2 for gold. But what we found with doing it that way was that when they came to gold, they'd left the 2 they didn't want to do until the end, the ones they found hardest. And they might be doing some fantastic work that would have fitted into one of the others, but we couldn't look at it because it wasn't the right one. So it's been changed for that reason. Also because there's a lot more pupil voice where pupils will say the direction that their learning takes, but also it didn't fit well with the new curriculum either. So now they do 9 activities. Some might be quite small and some will be a whole class project over a term. And they can pick whichever they want from here. And as you can see and will know, lots of them will overlap. If you're doing climate change, you might be looking at water, you might be looking at energy, you might be looking at biodiversity anyway. The awards are the Bronze Award, the Silver Award, and the Gold Award. And then once they've had that for 2 years, they then get acorns to continue the circle from the oak tree. So my job is to offer support and guidance to the schools, and it could be one-to-one with one teacher. It could be whole school training where I might go in after school one day, all the teachers come together, we talk about what they're doing, and often they think of more things that they're doing as they're talking and someone else remembers something, and that's quite a good way to work to find out what's going on in a school, and then all the teachers know about the award that they're going to be going for. We do network days. At the beginning, we used to do them every term and we'd get lots of schools out. Now the schools don't have the funding for that. And I don't have funding to do it every term. So I do this once a term now, once a year, sorry. And it's a full day out of school with training and networking. So the teacher who's responsible within the school comes out. We have presentations by schools, which teachers really, really like. We have activities to use with pupils. I might have found some new activities and I get the teachers to actually do those to see how they work. We get presentations by outside providers who can tell them the sorts of things that they're able to offer. And I also include activities to increase teacher knowledge and confidence, because they have to know so many things, and what's my speciality quite likely won't be theirs. They'll know far more about something else, but they won't say so. Once we had someone come in and he said, "Oh, you know how oil is made, don't you?" And nobody said anything. And then I said, "Oh, could you just tell them, Tim, just to recap?" And about 5 of the teachers turned to me and went, "Oh, thank you. Actually, I didn't know." So never underestimate what they don't know, although obviously lots of teachers know lots of things, but that's just a little tip. Training is available on specific things then, shorter term training, so it might be after school one day, perhaps online. So I've done Beginning Your Sustainable Schools Journey, because some schools sign up, get some awards, and then they fall by the wayside for one reason or another and want to start again. I've done Sustainability and Global Learning in the New Curriculum. We did quite a few of those. And thanks to COVID and people learning how to do things online, we're now able to get people from other parts of the UK or the world to do training with us. So we had Towards an Anti-Racist Classroom, which was delivered by an organisation in London who do a lot of this kind of work. This is the form that they fill in. I know you probably won't be able to read this, but just to show that it's simple. So these numbered 1 to 9 here, they write in their activities that they're doing and the topics that they've covered and which year group they've done it with, to show that it's across the whole school. Then on the right-hand side, some of these things say, write a brief description of actions within school management, because it's not just about the teaching. There's also, what have your eco club or school council or similar club done? So they need to write an action plan and do something, because there's no point the pupils learning about something and then not actually being able to do anything about it. When we assess schools, they fill in one of those forms and I have a look at it. I go out and double check they've done everything they said they have. And that's because of going to assess schools and finding out they haven't. And when you're actually going into schools, you need to know that you're not going to say no to them. Assessment is with one of the Sustainable Schools partners, and the evidence might be beautifully presented folders. It could be photographs of displays. Everything might be online, or it might be a cardboard box stuffed full of things. We don't mind how they show us, as long as they show us what they've been doing. Now, I know some other award schemes do everything online, so everything is scanned and uploaded, and that's if you don't have then the capacity to be able to go out to the different schools. A small group of pupils also give us a tour of the school, and then we present the award, hopefully with a council member for education or the environment. I also run projects. So last term we did a children's rights project, did teacher training first after school, and 10 schools worked on projects to do with different rights during the term. Then we all came together somewhere and had a celebration day. This is pupils pretending that they're showing the right of all refugee children have the same rights as other children. And they're pretending they're on a boat. The girl is pointing to the horizon, another girl is comforting somebody. They played some games. This project is COP PEMS 2023. So when the COP was on, we held this in the council chamber. 10 schools took part, and pupils made presentations about one sustainability action they'd taken in their school, and the other schools were then able to discuss that and decide whether they wanted to do it as well, and they would vote. We run every year an Eco Club networking day where they come and do activities. We get outside providers come in. Here they are learning how to mend broken things. And then they come up with ideas for things that they would like to do back in school. I thought about things that might be helpful for you. 5 things that we've learned along the way. One of them is, if the head teacher is on board, sustainability and global learning is far more likely to be embedded in the school. Too often it can be given to one teacher, and if they leave, everything all falls apart. Getting teachers from different schools together to share what they have been doing. They really, really like this, and they learn so much, and but get different ideas from each other. Not all teachers will know about some of the issues, but they won't tell you. Include training at an adult level as well as activities for pupils. Don't make the paperwork too difficult. And we used to have boxes of resources, like we had an energy box full of solar-powered cars and things that we would lend out to schools. They're all lost in the ether now. Lending boxes of resources needs a lot of organisation to make sure you get them back. Those are my top tips. If I have any more, I might share them. This is my favourite cartoon. It's really old. You've probably seen it before. What if it's a big hoax and we create a better world for nothing? I hope this has been useful to you. Adieu, thank you, and diolch.